Congressman Roger Williams from Texas's 25th District is the chairman of the House Committee on Small Business. And Congressman, it is really a pleasure to have you here. The focus of really bringing that engine of America, one of the key parts of our economy, out, not just focus on it, but find ways to help. Thank you.
Well, there's no question that Main Street drives America, and the things you've talked about earlier do nothing but help Main Street. And this is National Small Business Week, May 3rd through May 9th, and we got a lot to celebrate. You know, David, 99% of the businesses are small businesses in America, and 75% of the payroll in the workforce are generated by small businesses. So it's a great time to be an entrepreneur, great time, frankly, to open up a business and stay in business.
Let's talk about some of the things that were not just being discussed, but being done in Washington, D.C. At this focus. And of course, there were virtual conference around the country. People could join in, and they could actually, instead of just hearing secretaries and members of Congress or others speak, experts, business owners for that matter, they could be more interactive. And I liked seeing that because it's not just advice, it is an interactive experience for someone who might want to start a business.
Well, there's no question, and it's good to hear from those who want to start, and it's good to hear from those that have started, and good to hear from those that have been in business for a period of time. It shows the greatness of this great country and the competition, entrepreneurship, and free markets that we have. And we've been David, we've been taking what we call a road show across the country, where we've gone to communities as the Small Business Committee and talk to people about what their needs are, what their wants are, hear what the good and the bad are as far as starting the business. And we've taken it to a retail concept that's really working out really well, and people are excited about it. And I'll just add one thing. You know, we got a lot of news in the world today, all the way from Iran to you name it, but we can't forget Main Street. Main Street drives this, the whole show, and that's what we're able to do this month, is talk about how great small business is and the entrepreneurs that drive it.
To put it in a little more pedestrian terms, as I often do, Congressman, Iran will eventually move to something else or another next phase. There will always be challenges around the world, but the foundations, the pillars of America need to function and continue to function in between and after these things happen, such as the war in Iran, which is now in a ceasefire. And I think that's something that I've seen more focus from this administration and this Congress working together to make sure that the foundations are there.
No, there's no question. The foundation has just been refound, if you want to call it, through the big, beautiful tax bill that we passed. I mean, now entrepreneurship in Main Street America knows what taxes they're going to pay. David, we cut regulations, as you know, from community banks. We were losing community banks under the Biden administration. But we cut regulations out so those community banks now can make payroll loans, can make working capital loans to small businesses. You got 100% expensing, which to manufacturing is huge, where they can write off their purchases 100%. And one thing that doesn't get reported on enough, that always was when it was going the other way, is about the saving the family farm, you might say. We increased the threshold of the inheritance tax from $15 million to $30 million per couple, which is tremendous. It saves so many businesses. It passes businesses on as generational, where businesses can now do third and fourth generation that they before had to worry about selling assets to the government and lose it forever.
That's a very important point. I mean, Texas, a lot of Texas farmers, family farms, operations that were losing, and especially under the last administration, it was impossible for many to pass on the business to their children.
Well, you couldn't pass it on because they were inflated dollars, and people didn't have the cash to pay the taxes. Now we exempt up to $30 million, which takes a majority of small businesses into effect. And now they can have second and third generation, pass it on, and create not just a job, but create net worth.
Let's talk about those who want to start new businesses. You brought up the smaller banks, of course, mid cap banks all across America. They've been under a lot of strain since Dodd-Frank's imposition on the American business community. So we're going back a ways, but it does matter to today. Forms of relief need to be there. The banks need to be sure they can do business without being shoved into an asset liability gray area that could damage their ability to operate. What's being done in Congress to address some of those issues? There's a regulatory component, but there's also some need for legislative reform.
Well, it is regulatory, and look, the banks need to be able to compete against each other, not defend against the federal government. And these small businesses we're talking about, David, are businesses that might just need to borrow $5,000 for a payroll or $5,000 for a working capital. You're not talking about a lot of money compared to some, but it's a situation where if the banks, like I say, don't have to compete against the CFPB and they can make their own decisions, then we have a free flow of the economy, and free markets work and investment. And because, as you know, this country is built on risk and reward. I mean, now you can take some risk again. You can get reward. Before, there was no risk. The banks were not making loans because it was easier not to make the loan than to make the loan because of the regulations they had to respond to from the federal government trying to drive them out of business.
There's something that I have not seen in a while in this type of discussion and efforts that are underway, and that is a regional, sometimes even that you work within that localized environment, that localized economy. So, what is the approach coming out of Small Business Week to work more regionally and more locally, and what does that mean to those economies?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. And one size does not fit all in this great country. And under leadership of Kelly Loeffler, the SBA is focusing on more regional type businesses. I mean, what's good? What's a startup business in the East is not the startup business in Texas, and you can go all over, and you have to be flexible. And the SBA is doing that. That's why loans are up almost 75% over the Biden administration. That's why we raised the manufacturing loan limit from $5 to $10 million, which was sorely needed. So these are the kind of things that help from a regional standpoint. And look, at anything we know that the best decisions are made locally, not sometimes by the federal government. And these decisions that can be made locally, because people know people. Sometimes it's a personal relationship on the reason they should get the loan. So going locally, drilling down to local opportunities, I think is the way to go. And it works good in the federal government, and it'll really work good from a Main Street America standpoint.
Well, since I have a Texan here, I think it's best in all our interests that I focus in a little bit on Texas, and that is the North Texas World Cup Roundtable. World Cup's coming to Dallas, and it will have a big localized effect.
Well, there's no question. I'm excited about it as chair of the committee because it's going to be big, but it's going to be small because when these big dollars come into communities, they trickle down, David. And you're going to have all kinds of communities, whether it be restaurants, auto dealers, real estate people, you name it, are going to benefit because of these people coming in our situation in the North Texas area to see what we have. And the cash that's going to come into all these cities, and from a business standpoint, is additions to capital. And it's cash you wouldn't have had otherwise, and people will spend money when they get here. So we're talking about billions of dollars just in the and $40 million already we've seen in the Dallas area that has come to the economy. So it's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be a big cash flow deal, and it's going to give opportunity for people to hire people at least on a temporary basis, or people to put some savings away and spend at a later date.
Congressman Roger Williams, Texas's 25th District, Chairman of the House Committee on Small Business. Congressman, thank you for joining me this morning.
Always good to be with you, David. God bless.
God bless, sir. Thank you.